Today I'm going to show you how to make this lovely 1/12 scale plant stand, and it's a nice easy project, fun to make. And for the project I've used again Obeche wood, that's spelled O-B-E-C-H-E. I'll just pop those out of the way, and I've used a sheet wood and a strip wood, and these are available to purchase in my Etsy store. And I'm happy to ship anywhere in the world, so I'll pop a link to the store below. So if you have trouble getting Obeche in the country you're in, you can have a look on the Etsy store. You'll need your Swan Morton craft knife, and that takes a size 10A blade. Always put a new blade in at the start of a project, or if it begins to catch or drag on the wood, that means it's becoming blunt. And then to cut the strip wood, I used my mitre block and saw. Or you could use one of these handheld mitre cutters, which are a really handy tool to have. You'll need a steel rule for cutting your wood, and also for measuring of course, and a nice sharp pencil for accurate marking. I've used my Gorilla Wood glue again, so any sort of nice glue that bonds quickly, or a PVA would be fine. I use cocktail sticks to apply my glue and to remove excess glue from along the joins. And then to finish the plant stands, I've done one in varnish and one just in paint. So I used a normal household interior varnish and a household emulsion paint. And you can buy most emulsions in a little sample pot, which are ideal for miniature work. I think that's everything you're going to need. The cutting list is coming up next, and then we'll get started. Okay, so we're going to begin by attaching two of the top supports to opposite sides of the top piece. So I've dispensed some glue here onto a piece of card, and I'm going to use a cocktail stick to apply it. So apply it along two opposite edges of the top piece. That back down on your worktop, press the supports against the edges, and then I always have a couple of pieces of strip wood handy when I'm doing this, and if you press them up against the sides like that, it means that the strips will be, or the supports will be attaching squarely. If they're at a slight angle, then we won't be able to join on the legs properly, so it's always a good idea to have some strip wood handy. Then you can use a spare cocktail stick to remove the excess glue. Stick into my finger then. And then just slide that along your worktop, and that can be left to dry. And then bring in your leg pieces, and we're going to make a pencil mark 9mm or 3/8 of an inch from what will become this bottom edge. So just make a little pencil mark across each one. And always use the ruler to measure rather than the mark that you've just made. That way you'll be more accurate. Like that. And then divide those into two pairs. And we're going to glue the remaining support along the top of each pair, so that at the top we have a flush edge. So we'll apply a little blob of glue to each end of the support, and then just press it between those two leg pieces. This is where the lines on your cutting mat come in handy, because you can just make sure that everything's square. And I've got it so these pencil marks at the front here are still facing towards me, so we can see when we come to attach our bottom shelf. And just press those together. And again, you can use your spare piece of strip wood just to make sure you've got a nice flush edge along the top. So do that with both pieces, and then they can be left to dry. Okay, so once the leg sections have dried off a bit, bring in the supported top piece and apply glue along that long edge. Lay that on your work surface and then attach one set of legs. And they're the same width, so you should have a nice flush edge along the front and back. And this is where that piece of spare strip wood comes in handy again, so you can just press all that together, nice and firm. Remove your excess glue. And I've got the legs as well, so that those pencil marks we made are sort of facing inwards, and that's going to help when we attach the bottom shelf. Okay, so once again just slide that along your worktop and that can be left to dry. Okay, so whilst that's drying we can prepare the shelf piece, and we're going to begin by cutting a 3mm, 1/8 of an inch corner, or square rather, from each corner. So begin by making the pencil marks. So first along those sort of top and bottom edges, 3mm or 1/8 of an inch, and then turn it around and do the pencil mark going in the other direction to make our square. And when you're cutting sections from wood like this, always cut against the direction of the grain first. So on my piece the grain runs from there to there, so I'm going to make the cut that way first. So just use the tip of your craft knife and just cut through like that. And then once you're all the way through you can turn and cut in the direction of the grain. And then that just comes out like that. So I'll just do one more corner there. Just trying to think the best angle to do it at. Can you still see me there? Yeah. So against the grain first. And then in the direction of the grain. Like that. That sun's very bright today. And then I've got a piece here where I've removed all 4 corners, and I'm just going to take a piece of fine grade sandpaper, and I just want to round over each edge of those straight sections. So I don't want to create a complete curved edge, but I just want to take away that sharp edge. So just hold the sandpaper at a 45-degree angle and just very gently sweep it along that edge. I've sort of got a bit of a spotlight on my hand there, and do that on all edges. And when you've been all the way round you can turn it over and do the other edge. Okay, so once you've prepared your shelf piece we can attach it to the leg section. So just apply a little bit of glue into 2 of the corner sections. Like that. And then you may just need to widen this bit here at the bottom of the leg pieces just to fit it in, so do that very gently so that you don't sort of crack the glue at the top there, and then just position it so that each sort of section is just above the pencil line that we made. So you can just see the pencil line just below that sort of corner section there. And keep it as upright as you can, but we can pull that into position when we attach the remaining set of legs. And then squeeze those leg pieces back together so that they're really sort of fitting into the corners. And once again you can remove any excess glue. The other side as well. And again, I just want to leave that section to dry off a bit before I attach this remaining set of legs. Okay, so once you've allowed enough time for the glue on this piece to dry, we can attach this remaining set of legs. So apply glue along that top edge there, and then in each of these corner sections on the shelf piece, like that. And bring in your leg piece, and I want the pencil lines that we made to be facing towards the shelf. That will help when we make sure the shelf is straight. So attach your top piece first. Remember, the legs are tapered, so it feels like it's sort of not going on straight, but that's actually right. So get a straight edge along this top, and then I want to hold that in place and bring it round so I can see that the shelf is sitting just above the pencil lines, like that. And then sort of press it all together. Make sure again that that shelf is staying straight. Because it's tapered, it will be sort of trying to pull itself into another position. But if you put it so it's straight and then hold on to it, it will just sort of fall into the correct place. Just let go of those legs for a moment. So hold the top piece firmly in place, and then just make sure that those legs have stayed, or the shelf rather is below the lines on those legs, like that, and then give it a final sort of press together. And make sure those legs are right into the corners on the shelf. And then when the glue begins to dry off, I just want to sort of stand it up and press it all so that it's sort of even on each side. So I can feel that the glue is beginning to take now. So I'm just going to stand that up, and then you might just need to wobble it about a little bit, like that, until you've got a nice sort of even angle. What you don't want is for it to be straight on this side and then just angled on this side. So as long as your glue is sort of beginning to dry, you're safe to do this. It won't sort of all fall apart. I'm just looking at it from all angles, and I think that looks okay. It's going to be very, very slight anyway. But just sort of wiggle it a bit until you feel that it's sitting right. There, like that. Now we can prepare the top piece and attach that. Okay, so all I actually want to do with this top piece is round off each edge on the top and bottom, like we did with the shelf. Just gives it a more finished appearance. Okay, like that. And then apply glue to the top of your plant stand. And if you lay that down on your work surface, you can attach the top so that you're leaving an even border around all edges. So there's about 1 millimetre or 1/32 of an inch overhang there, and press it down. Keep checking that it's in the right place, and then you can remove the excess glue. Once you've done that, turn the piece the right way up again, and then I'm just going to clamp it into position. You could probably use clothes pegs for this as well, if you haven't got any clamps. And I'm going to leave that to dry. So once the top piece has dried into place, you can give the whole thing a gentle sand. Just use your fine grade sandpaper, and then it's ready to paint or varnish. And there is the completed plant stand. And I finished one in this dark varnish to give it a more traditional look, and one in this sort of lovely pale green colour for a more contemporary look. So I hope you've enjoyed that project. A nice simple one, but really effective, I think you'll agree. And if you enjoy making doll's house furniture, you might like to have a look at my books. I've published 3 of them so far, and they're all available to purchase from Amazon. I'll pop a couple of links below. And I'll also pop a link below for my Etsy store, because you can purchase the Obeche sheet wood and strip wood in my store. So, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.